We're all concerned about the people who are impacted directly by the virus, or at this point even lost someone as a result of it. I have deep empathy for those in high-risk categories and those concerned about their loved ones in high-risk categories and beyond. I feel for the people who are suffering from anxiety because they're on the front line. I'm worried about the people who are out of work and uncertain about how they'll feed their families because of this. I'm concerned about the businesses that realistically won't reopen and the contractors who have to take a huge financial hit. I'm concerned for those having trouble navigating a daily work schedule and what feels like one continuous bad day. A lot has gone on since we spoke last. The coronavirus pandemic has affected so many people. The whole world is shut down as we know it, and then there are people who actually are suffering from the illness who are already passed from it in some cases. So I really want to acknowledge those people first. This video is for a specific demographic or a specific group of people. It's for publicists, people who are still doing media. Yes, people are still working from home. And a lot of you might have reservations about how to approach the media during these times. I'm going to tell you what's been working for me. I'm not a pandemic expert, obviously. I've never lived through something like this, but I have been able to secure a ton of press in the last 2 weeks that we have been quarantined. And I'm going to tell you what has worked for me and some things to keep in mind while you do media for yourself as well. Firstly, avoid being tone deaf, okay? Do not ignore the fact that the world is in complete turmoil right now. People are dying. If it doesn't directly correlate or some way tied to COVID-19, you're going to have to be super mindful of what you're saying, who you're saying it to. This is a time for research, okay? Get on that good old interwebs and find out if the editor you're pitching has coronavirus before you reach out to them. I know we are frantic to keep our jobs, as everyone is in every industry, but you don't want to make a mistake right now. These writers, sometimes they don't just ignore you, they will literally blast you on Twitter and drag you. So you don't want to be that publicist. Please just be conscious, pause, okay, for a moment before you press send. Before sending any pitches, really think about what you're adding to the conversation and what value you're providing to a large audience and why it's newsworthy. These are things you should be asking yourself all the time, but right now it's even more sensitive. The key here is to operate from a place of wanting to serve the press rather than having the press serve you. I know it's a hard concept for, entrepreneurs and brand owners, but if you're a publicist, you should get this. Your client is going to want to push their product because times are hard, people are not shopping, but you as a publicist have to step in and say, this is not a good idea, okay? Nothing tone deaf. I want to make it clear that I am not suggesting that you should cease all marketing that's unrelated to COVID-19 altogether. I'm just saying when you approach the press, you have to lead with the fact that a global pandemic is happening and it's controlling the news cycle, and you should be sensitive to that. Press and marketing are quite different. If you are lucky enough to represent an expert, right now is a great time for you. I, for instance, represent a public health expert, but she's got a ton of press in the last 2 weeks. Gotten her in Huffington Post and Daily Mail and places like that because she has something to add to the conversation and she's a reliable source for press. So by all means, leverage the experts that you have. Now is not the time to be shy about the information that you have that could potentially help the public. So I do have a bunch of consumer-facing product clients as well. Obviously, it's tough to think about where to push them to the media at this current moment, but where it makes sense to, go ahead and tie them to COVID-19 in a way that makes sense. That's the primary thing that you want to keep in mind. Does it make sense? Is it a stretch? If it is, just pause and come back to it. For instance, if you are pitching maybe trade publications in your industry, you can tell them that your brand has pivoted to this initiative or that you're protecting your employees in this way. And I was able to secure some placements for my clients under the same kind of positions. So keep that in mind. People want to know how the market is reacting to COVID-19. That is a story in itself. So think about how your client is reacting. I do have a bunch of beauty contacts that I've reached out to about quarantine kind of skincare regimens, sensitively of course. I'm really only reaching out to beauty editors about this because obviously beauty editors are going to continue to cover beauty. When it gets posted or when it's released, that's a different story, but you just really want to be conscious of that. Something else that's really important to me is not forgetting who you're talking to. You're talking to a human being, okay? The media is comprised of people. These humans are going through this pandemic just like us. So I know we don't want to waste a whole bunch of fluff and time in our first few sentences of our pitch, but please just take a second to acknowledge that that person may have coronavirus or know someone who does. So say, how are you? I hope you're doing okay. It really just humanizes you in a way that is invaluable. I think right now is the perfect time to do that and mean it. I saw something in a group that I'm in, a media group on Facebook, where an editor said she got an email about a beauty product, and she responded and said, hey, I have coronavirus, I can't get to it right now, and the publicist kind of shrugged it off. I don't know if she fully understood what she was saying, but you don't want to be that person. Avoid being tacky and making it seem like your product-based business is going to somehow cure coronavirus. It's insensitive and it's tone deaf. I don't know if you guys remember what happened in Paris. There was a publicist that said that her nail polishes that were the same color as the French flag were somehow heroic, and it was just tacky. She got dragged, and you don't want to be that person, so be very careful. Like I said, people are dying, so how you position these products right now really matters. If you can, what I think is the best way to go about it for a consumer-based product that is completely unrelated to COVID-19, do a campaign. Do a cause-based campaign that really means something, and let it be genuine. Let it be genuine. I know a couple of my clients are donating a portion of their proceeds to food banks in their area, or they're donating hand sanitizer or PPE. Anything like that really makes you stand out and humanizes your brand. So instead of saying 50% off of, gel nail polish, how about I'll give $50 to this organization? And sometimes you can't do that. In those instances, I would recommend for startups or people who might be having slow revenue, perhaps you can donate a portion of your proceeds to certain organizations. Now, some of them do have minimums, but others don't. You just have to do your research and find out which ones don't. Resist your clients' desire to kind of capitalize on the pandemic or seem as though they're capitalizing on the pandemic. A central part of your messaging should not be that you sell a product right now. It should be more centered around what can this product do for people who are being quarantined, or people who are dying, or people who... Do you see where I'm going with this? Another thing you as a publicist want to do is go ahead and check their social presence. A lot of times the social media is handled by a different agency or someone in-house, and it's pre-scheduled, and that content could have nothing to do with what's going on in the world. You want to make sure the messaging you're pushing to the media matches what you're putting out on social. I had an issue with that with a client recently. It's so important, so be on top of that. Okay guys, that's all I have to say on the subject for now. I hope this is somewhat helpful to anyone who is doing media outreach right now. If you have other tips or things that I should take into consideration, I'm happy to learn from you too. Just drop a comment, let me know what's working, and we can collaborate. We're gonna get through this. I'm keeping all of you guys in my prayers and in my thoughts. Now is a very difficult time, but we're gonna get through it. I firmly believe that. For the month of April, I'm looking to support up to 3 people in gaining media coverage. If you have credible and verifiable knowledge and expertise to add to the COVID-19 situation in the media, or you're doing something that adds value to the people who are affected by COVID-19 and you think it deserves media attention, let me know. Like I said, for this month alone, I'm happy to support you at no cost in gaining media coverage, as long as your initiative is not for profit or self-serving. If this is something that you think you might be interested in, just shoot me a message or DM me and we'll take it from there. Thank you for watching, and see you soon.